Hello, my name is Dominic O'Keefe. Today I'm going to look at how people use the art of war in business and leadership today. Sun Tzu is usually credited with writing The Art of War, which was written in ancient China during the Warring States period. The book was first written to help military leaders win wars by teaching them how to plan, strategize, and understand their enemies. It was mostly about things like lying, being smart, and winning without having to fight. I picked a modern primary source called The Art of War for Business by Donald Krauss. It's a business book. I had it because I'm taking business classes, so I just decided to use that. The source uses Sun Tzu's ideas about war to talk about modern business and management. The modern sources sees Sun Tzu as a guide for business competition instead of war. It says that businesses should look at their competitors the same way generals looked at enemies' armies. Know your enemies and know yourself is one of Sun Tzu's most important ideas. The business source says this means knowing both your company strengths and your competitors' weaknesses. Another idea that the modern source uses is to win without fighting. This means that in business you should avoid direct conflict like lawsuits or price wars, and instead use smart planning, marketing, and strategy to get ahead. The source also stresses the importance of being flexible, saying that business leaders need to be able to change with the times, just like generals did during the war. The source also talks about discipline and leadership. It says that good managers should stay calm, think things through, and make decisions based on strategy rather than feelings. These ideas come straight from what Sun Tzu said about how a general should lead an army. The modern source comprehends Sun Tzu quite effectively in certain aspects. It correctly uses its ideas about being strategic, planning ahead, and getting information. These ideas still work in businesses, sports, and everyday life. But the source also gets Sun Tzu's wrong in some ways by taking his ideas out of their original historical context. Sun Tzu wrote for generals during a time of war that was violent and chaotic. He meant his ideas for life and death situations, not for work or personal success. Some people who work in business think that Sun Tzu is more of a motivational speaker than a military strategist. They talk a lot about confidence and success, but they don't talk about the bad things about war, like lying, tricking, and controlling people. This can make his message too simple and change what it means. I believe that the art of war can be useful in today's world if you use it wisely. It works best when used for planning, leading, and figuring out how to beat the competition. It's not a good idea to take it too literally because business isn't war and coworkers aren't enemies. Using Sun Tzu to help you think strategically can be helpful, but using it to justify being mean or manipulative is wrong. The idea should be changed in a way that is morally correct. To sum up, modern business sources use Sun Tzu's ideas to talk about leadership and competition in the present day. They use his ideas about strategy and preparation well, but they also make his work easier to understand and sometimes forget what the text was meant to do in the first place. The art of war can still be helpful today, but we need to remember that it was written for war in the past and not for everyday life now in the present. Thank you for listening.